Hey, what's up guys? I'm Bruno Silva, and in today's episode we are going to watch my talk that I gave at Mobilize Dublin about rethink your mobile design strategy. Before we jump in, I want to say thanks to Chris from Mobilize Dublin, the people that were there, and their home office that opened the incredible space to talk about the nice things I'm doing in my mobile design strategy. So, let's go! Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for having me here today. I'm super happy that you could come here. So, my talk today, pretty much, my name is Bruno. I'm senior product design at WorkHuman. For those who don't know what does it mean WorkHuman, so pretty much we create like a program recognition that help like employees and try to be more engagement in our workplace. So pretty much is that what we are doing, and by doing gratitude, we help each other and we stay more in the company, more happier. Before I talk about my lovely talk, I would like to talk a little bit about me. So where did I start? I started in 2001 in advertising agency in Brazil. And then I've worked as an art director for more or less 5 years. And then suddenly I got my heart broken because working in advertising agency, you don't have empathy. So pretty much you have to create for business, business to business. You don't look for users. You don't look anything about like how to make people happier. So that's why at that moment I stopped working in advertising agencies. So then I started working more in startups where I could have many hats. So pretty much sometimes I could have like a UX hat, web design hat. Even you can imagine doing web design in 2006, 2007 was like pretty challenge for me as a designer. And also doing some research for many companies as well. Then suddenly I got fell in love with UX because I could create something really meaningful for people that I could help in them because I could use empathy to help them in their lives, not only build a products, but also when they start using my products, they start feeling happy and I help them. That's what makes me feel happy. In 2008, I started learning more about UX. So I believe most of you knows this book, Mental Models. So he was released in 2008, and it was the first moment I started understanding the term of UX strategies because I started reading this book and I saw experience strategies it's equal of business strategies plus UX strategies. Then I started okay, what does it mean UX strategies? So that's why I started learning a lot about that. And today I would like to talk about rethinking your mobile design strategies using UX strategies and how this changed my life and how I'm changing the work human life as well in the mobile team. There are three things I would like to talk today. Why design strategy is crucial for us, the 5 fits, and also change the way we work at Work Human right now. The first one is, as I mentioned before, UX strategy is part of an experience strategy. Okay, but what does it mean that? And then I started to realize one of the items is about value, how we can provide the value for business and for humans. I'm not talking about users. I'm not talking about humans because users they don't have names. Humans we put names in there. Robert, Julie, Paula, Chris. So that's why looking in terms of how we can match the values from the business point of view and also the humans. Sometimes you have to understand like what's the main point in terms of business is more about customer satisfaction, revenue, increase in new business. So, and then also looking into humans, is it something usual for them? I'm gonna make their life easier for tomorrow, in next week, or even 5 years. That's what we have to look into that as well. The living value is something that starting looking about value is like you have to sync humans and business. It's not necessary great design alone is enough to deliver business value. And then doing my research a few years ago, I was looking this application because I love to download many apps and see like how it works just to get us reference. And then suddenly I found this app that's Juicero. I believe most of you knows about this machine. Pretty much it's a machine that can squeeze your juice. Okay? Squeeze my juice? Okay, but I can go to the supermarket and then buy a juice box and drink. Anyway. And I started understanding like more about the rationale behind of what they built this product. And then at the end, they didn't create any value for the users because pretty much I could squeeze my own at the same time. And it took 2 minutes for a squeeze from the machine and 2 minutes for a squeeze from my hand. Okay. And also the price is highly cost. Initially, they starting with $700 and then suddenly for 400. And then later at the end, they could find when this company shut down for $40 in the store. So imagine like buy something that was higher cost, but then we don't have much users value. So this is like they try to create some value innovation when you have like a high value for the users in a low cost, but they couldn't achieve that because they only look into the business point of view. So that's why I started creating the 5 feats. Pretty much the 5 feats are the foundation for how we should work as a designers, product owners, and product managers, everyone together, QAs, and stakeholders, everybody. Initially, you have your vision. We have to set up our vision for today, for tomorrow, and how we're going to perceive our vision for the users. We have to pass clearly what are we want, like, help them. In terms of the long term, what's the most valuable that we want to help them during their journey? Strategies, what is within our capabilities, what is feasible and what's not feasible in terms of technical point of view, business, and also design that we can deliver the most valuable for them. And also looking to, as Matthew was talking before, like the competitors, how we can understand like the pains and gains, understand like the opportunities that we can get as a reference, and maybe potentially using your own market and try to improve our applications and look into that. We have experience principles, pretty much like this is about branding. What's true to our brand? What's our tone of voice? Because when you talk about brand, when you talk about sync our humans with our products, we have to speak in the same language. It's not necessary, like, for example, if you're using TikTok, we have to speak in the same languages as the users of the audience of TikTok. Or if you talk about corporative apps, we have to speak in the same language. So we have to be able to having the same tone of voice, for example. And what we're going to differentiate us from the others, it's why we do what we do. This is what we have to pass through our emotions, through our apps, through our platforms. And also experience mapping. As everybody is familiar here with customer journeys, we have to understand like our pains and gains from the user journeys and how we can elevate in those pains to be delightful. Because when you create something that's delightful for the users, that's something that you don't expect to see your application, the people is gonna feel like good moments. They're gonna feel like so much emotion, passion that's gonna start making their life easier. Even like it's just for 10 seconds, they're gonna make a difference. And then a few years later, they're gonna remember about something that helped them to make it delightful. And also roadmaps, because as we work in a company, everyone will have to prioritize our tasks. Pretty much we should be able to understand how we should prioritize our tasks, what is more relevant for us right now at Work Human. We starting including the research phase in the roadmap part, because we didn't this before, just to start educating our stakeholders, just to show to them, look, it's really important we start with research, we start learning from them, and then after that, we could start doing iterations, doing like analysis, understand the metrics, how we can improve, what we cannot improve. Maybe we're gonna fail, and that's fine. We have to be able to fail, because when you fail, we are gonna learn a lot. And the way we're changing, the way we're working right now at Work Human, it's really interesting because like it never was easier, it never was good always. Like all the companies, they have like issues. When I started working there, we always also have some issues. And then I started to identify like people don't have voice in my team because they were so afraid to speak in their voice. I don't want them to be at this stage, but I want them to be comfortable to speak when they want to speak. That's the most important. We have to be able to fail, as I mentioned before. We have to, before we were much focused in producing solutions, not solving problems. Pretty much we were just looking for outputs, then outcomes. And you know, we have to be able to look always for the outcomes, how we can improve that. Research part, as I mentioned before, wasn't something that like stakeholders didn't too much take consideration for our company. So that's why we started to educate them more about why it's so important research in your phase. and we are doing so much great. And then also discovery workshops. It's a nice methodology that we can be able to put everyone in the same place, and everyone have the same feelings, the same thoughts for achieving the same goals. This like is something that I started doing. I think it's really great, like because when starting working in a company, you starting doing a lot of things, but sometimes you don't realize. Even like yesterday, I don't remember what I ate yesterday, so that's why I started creating my diary studies. Pretty much, I started identify the opportunities that I could start making into my product area, and also some gains and pains that I starting facing from my team. And then one of that, like as I mentioned before, people were so afraid to talk with designers because like they haven't voice. That's why, as a designer, you must have be able to have orchestration, have to be able to help them. My challenge is not only like doing pixel perfect. We know how to do pixel perfect, right? But the most important is how we can make them feel comfortable. We have to be able to have a design leadership, showing to them it's really important they feel part of the group. Of course, sometimes you're gonna have some dinosaurs like that, like my stakeholders, because it is what it is. They're gonna try to push for their own business, but that's fine. We have to be able to be flexible to help them to understand like what's the most important, not only business but also humans. This is something that like we are starting using a lot, like in terms of vision, why we do what we do. We have goals. We starting understanding like what are goals in terms of company goals, in terms of the user goals. For example, in some situations like that is more about increase revenue or improve the user satisfaction. That's a couple of things. And then we have time frames. We start on prioritizing tasks, understanding like what we have to be able to work right now, what's next, or maybe later, or maybe postpone for next year. It's totally fine, And outcomes, as I mentioned before, this is a big piece here that I've created just because it's really important to us understand what the outcome is we are looking when you work in a feature, try to improve their human lives. And also change. We will also be able to change our roadmap, and that's fine. We have to be able to be flexible about that. And then this is just like a couple of examples, like when my team started working with me and with another persons in my project. So pretty much we starting adopting wireframe. So pretty much they starting using more low fidelity mockups just to understand like how easy it is to understand the flow, the interactions before starting doing pixel perfect. We started doing more design sprints, more design collaboration. As I mentioned before, bring everyone in the same room, try to think everyone the same issues, the same problems, and try to find opportunities and solutions that we could come up later. And also designers has to be able to be involved in the prioritizations tasks as well. So we are able now to put our voice there and show, no, this is really important. We do this feature because like it's really important for the users, or maybe like we are assuming this could bring more revenue, increase revenue for the company. And one thing like it's really important when you're working as a huge companies, as a enterprise companies, or when you have like many people in your products, is like we have to be able to create documentation because it's a source of truth where everyone can go there and understand like everything that you did during the year or last year or whatever, because there's a history. And another, as you can see here, we start introducing Amigo Review. So pretty much is a methodology from the three amigos from Agile, where I started not only taking consideration product owners and product managers to this conversation, but also QAs, developers, so they have their voice as well, to understand like how important it is we working together. Because we have to understand the context. What do we know? We have to understand like what do we want to learn by doing experiments. By doing experiments, we're gonna get data. We're gonna do more research. We're gonna do more investigation about that. And then, as you know, unknowns. We don't know what we don't know. That's fine. Just to recap, as I mentioned, design is really crucial for us because we are able to change companies' lives and people's human lives. The 5 feats are the foundation where you're gonna set down all the foundation that's really important for us to use as a guide. Designers must have put your face in front of everyone and showing like we are here to help you, not only just doing pixel perfect, but we are solving team issues as well. And collaboration is most important. I don't know everything. You guys don't know everything. The most important is how we can work together to achieve the same thing. Thank you.
I guess we can start with questions. Any questions for Bruno? If anyone's got a question around rethinking your design strategy.
Can you elaborate on this Three Amigo thing again? Because I didn't quite get the whole thing.
Three Amigo basically is like some method where in the agile, so pretty much you bring like someone from the product, pretty much let's say product manager, and then you bring someone, for example, tech lead from the technical point of view and designer. And everyone, once I create like some designs, I start to talk with them what is feasible in terms of technology point of view, or if I'm creating something really crazy that's not to be able to do right now during the sprints, or it's going to take too much effort for your build. And also looking for the business point of view when you bring like product managers or product strategists, just to understand like if this has value for the business itself, just to understand like for what we are building is nothing like going against for what we want, for what we assuming that's are correct or not. So that's why instead of doing only with product owners and product strategists, or we call product strategists, but it's product managers, I like to bring developers in QAs because they, at the end, they are going to build this feature. They're going to review this feature. So it's really important for us to bring them, to put their voice in their mouth, just to help them look. If I can give my opinion that I could make like the button from the right to the left or whatever, at the end, in their mindset, they're going to be able to, this is my idea. So I'm going to put much effort to build that. So that's why I like to bring everyone.
All right, thanks. Is there anybody else?
Other questions for Bruno?
Here, Chris.
I'm wondering if a business owner want to change in the products design in the middle of the strategy. So what would you to make a business owner clear the mind in order to finalize this app?
Yeah. So it's an interesting question. Pretty much like we have to be able to be flexible and we have to show value for them before we start to create something that potentially we could change. Everyone have to sit down and just understand like the business goals, what we want to achieve, the business opportunities, and also looking like in terms of the user point of view, how we can like improve their lives. Not only necessarily like we are gonna do something that is gonna focus only business, but we have my responsibility is to show to them it's really important for the users if you do that way, not in that other way. When we change products at the middle like of this process, that's fine, you know. We have, as I mentioned, we have to be able to be flexible, but always we have to show value why we took this decision before, and maybe like let's do some iterations, let's do some like research, doing some like putting outside just to people start to learn about that.
Well, I suggest if you create a tutorial, if the owner changing the product's design, you give the tutorial. Mm-hmm. So when she change her mind, the products, because they have their own strategy, you have your strategy, you create a template. So when she or him want to change the product's design, you create a template, the owner be able to replace on himself or herself. That's my suggestion. Also,
nice.
What is your most part you feel frustrating, and what is your most motivation part to keep doing your business?
Yeah, it's really nice. Like, because a few years ago, I changed my mindset not only to do pixel perfect, like because I've been working like since 2001, so I can deliver more than animations. We can deliver more about that, or pixel like visual. What makes my motivation up to date and my passion is about when I see someone using my app, when I see someone like giving like recognition to me, or giving like or saying thank you for how we were great to help them to achieve their success. You know?
Okay, so you're doing things for love. You're not doing things for money.
No.
So in case if the money is not great for the time you spend, would you continue to do it?
Yeah.
Would you?
So. Yeah.
And so far, have you find more satisfactions than the failure? Is that this keep you going? You're happy, still keep going.
Yes. Yeah, like failure is something that's really interesting in my career because like it's something that challenged myself, like doing things different. I learned it about that in advertising agency because when you work in there, every week you have to create different campaigns. Every week you have to be creativity. You have to think different things. And I brought this to my days today and how I can make things different, how I can like, before I was just like a web designer, as I mentioned. And then I went to research and then I went to UX research and now I'm product designer. Who knows tomorrow? Where can I be? Maybe a design strategist. I don't know. Just going to the path, just going like learning from what's making most interesting to my life.
It's a good answer.
Any more questions?
I think another thing as well, technology's changed in the last 19, 20 years since you started. And when you started out in probably more graphical design, the tools were different.
Yes.
And the tools you can use today, like Figma and Sketch, completely changed the game. Even myself, I found that as a product manager, I've started to get into Figma and I'm learning how to prototype and put together my own design. So I think it's hard to predict what it's going to be like in the next 2 years, never mind the next 5 years. But the technologies are changing the game as well.
Yes, exactly.
You mentioned about the 5-fit model. So if you can say around somebody from different teams are coming along and if there is like a conflict in architecture or design part, so how do you handle that particular thing?
Sorry,
If there is not, you can say around a 1-fit model from different teams coming across into an architecture perspective, then how do you handle this conflict of that particular design? Because it's little difficult sometimes. Some say it will work around, but other particular assimilation does not work around. So
yes, like everyone has a different like interests, it's part of my job. Our job is help them set down the expectations and start understanding like what's the quick win that we could like work in right now in some features, what like we can postpone for maybe in the later. So that's why designers, product owners, product strategists, product managers, everyone has to be this ability to be flexible and understanding like what's our expectation from my product or how we can, if we have to change or not, let's just sit down, have an honest conversation. That's fine.
because from the perspective of personal expectation, it is fine that you do not expect anything for money or something. But when it comes to commercial aspect of that thing, there is always a pressure in order to deliver faster. Yeah. So that particular thing is a real challenge, which I think.
Yeah, something like when you start to say about we have to deliver fast, is like I like to use. I'm not sure if you heard it before, Eisenhower matrix. Pretty much like you have to what's most important, what's not important, what we can postpone, what we can delegate. So pretty much I like to use this during my life. Even like when my wife started to talk with me in my house, like I try, okay, what's the priority? Is something that she's not gonna fight with me, then I could postpone maybe, or what's something that she's very upset, I have to do right now. So that's why I have to do I like to use this quadrant just to help me for everything in my life. Even like for this situation, when someone come up to me, okay, let's see like if this is priority for us, if not priority, let's make like a secondary priority, whatever.
Yeah, thanks.
Quick question here. What was the best outcome of design sprints for you? Like what you valued the best out of them?
There are 2 points I would say about that. One is about people, humans, and another one is about the outcomes, the solutions that we come up at the end. Maybe like talking about humans, talk about people. I love to see them because they always think like designers are creativity. They have like tons of creativity, but this is not true. I have a lot of pain sometimes because I cannot like create some visual or try to find the best solution. So when we sat down together doing design sprints and I see people like realizing they have their own voice, and then at the end they leave in the room like, oh my God, we got like 50 ideas in 10 minutes. Because like we're using crazy 8 seconds as one of the methods in the design sprint. For those who don't know, like crazy 8 seconds, pretty much like you have a paper, so pretty much you fold this paper in 4 parts, and then like you have to create like as many as ideas as you can in 2 minutes, 1 minute, or 30 seconds. So this is something that people don't realize how much creativity they have in their mind. But then, as I said, as a human, this is my like most proud when I left the room and they are so happy. They come up a lot of ideas. And then business point of view in terms of like the outcomes from the ideas, it's really great when you see like I'm not only the one that come up with a nice idea that could solve our challenge right now and try to like find the assumptions that we have right now as their best one. So another person or my project manager, my strategist, they could come up together and like find together the same idea. You know?
Thanks.
You're welcome.